In this video, we're going to look at how different types of framing devices can be used to improve your videos and your storytelling. Not to confuse these devices with angles, which are another type of technique you can apply to your shots. It's more something that should be used in conjunction with your angle choices in order to provide more dynamic and interesting shots. Let's look at 3 types of framing techniques and how you can implement them. First of all, we're going to look at the rule of thirds, which is one of the most popular and commonly used types of techniques used to frame a shot or a photograph by cinematographers, videographers, and various filmmakers, and even artists when putting together various types of imagery or graphic design work. The rule of thirds is a grid structure that divides your shot evenly, and it's the most effective way to partition your shot depending on the subject and other elements. The most effective way to implement this would be to place your subject or other elements of interest in your shot on the intersecting lines within these thirds. You may wish to place your subject on one of the right or left partitions within the frame in order to draw or redact interest from that within the shot. If you're shooting an establishing shot of a scene or location or horizon, you may wish to line the horizon up with either the upper or lower thirds depending on which element in the shot is giving you more interest, whether it be the land or the sky. This is also something you can apply if you're taking a shot at sea as well. You'll also see in over-the-shoulder shots and how the characters on the left and right are partitioned within the frame in order to direct interest depending on what is happening at any given time. If your subject is a presenter or someone speaking a monologue or dialogue, position them in your frame on the intersecting left or right horizontal thirds of the shot in order to give them looking room, as it is referred to. It can be a very effective technique when conveying perspective between one or more subjects in a scene. You'll also find that the golden ratio or Fibonacci sequence is an interesting way to incorporate the rule of thirds and using a particular corner of the frame to illuminate interest in the shot or scene. The most common use of this is if you have an extreme close-up or close-up of a particular subject or character, and you'll notice that their eye is usually lined up with one of the intersecting thirds. Secondly, we're going to look at mirror or parallel framing, where the shot is divided directly in the center. Subjects of interest can either be in the center or in parallel on either side of the frame. This can be a good technique whether conveying conflict or perspective, as it allows the frame to be used to present equal dynamics on either side of the shot. Alternatively, you may wish to have your subject in the center of the frame and have a parallel image either side. The most common use of this is when you have a presenter presenting to camera and they're in the middle of the frame, and either side you will have objects of interest or nothing at all in order to lead the eye straight to the center of the frame. A very common use of parallel or mirrored framing would be in Wes Anderson's productions, and you'll see this throughout as an interesting dynamic to further the storytelling and character development throughout. Third, we're going to look at the use of leading lines. How leading lines and the positioning of other elements in the shot or position of your subject in comparison with the background or foreground can actually further the storytelling or interest within your image. It helps direct the viewer's eye in any given shot or scene. And whether you use distracting elements or relatively bland elements to create this, it can be quite an effective and dynamic tool that you can experiment with in order to add significance to your shots and sequences. Leading lines can also help partition the background and the foreground, adding depth to your shots and your subject. I hope this video has been useful to you, and I hope that you get to apply some of the techniques in interesting ways. Let me know in the comments how you get on with that and what you think. I'll catch you again soon with another video. Until then, stay safe and have fun, and make sure you're subscribed.